And the House just passed a bill saying, hey, we should invest up to 5% of the North Carolina State retirement account into cryptocurrencies.
Digital assets.
Digital assets, okay. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I feel very secure because I listened to the committees that it came through local government. And there's also a board of directors that is coming behind this thing with people who have the experience with it. So I feel very good about it because, this isn't my world, but to know that there are people that this is their world and they are so behind this, that this is the direction that we want to go as a state, make our state stronger. Yeah, it makes me feel very good.
Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So, if you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today, and do it now because August is the earliest we're going to be able to see you here at the Welcome Center.
We're booked up.
There's a lot of traffic in the Bitcoin Welcome Center. We're expanding the parking lot, we're adding new amenities, and the folks are coming on in. So grab it now, even if you're a little bit scared, because by the time August comes around, you'll be ready.
Yep.
I'll be your host, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, resident Bitcoin smash buyer. I don't have a giveaway to announce yet today. But if you tune into our next live show, you might hear a very special and exciting announcement about a new giveaway.
Whoa!
Hint, hint.
Oh, my God.
Hint, hint.
They're chaining together giveaways?
Don't want to spare all the beans, but we do have a very exciting announcement coming later this week on our Friday live show at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which we've unlocked.
Yes.
Because of you.
Thank you, Satillionaires.
We hit 1,000 subscribers. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's just like...
It happened quick.
So
not only are we going to be giving away 1 million sats on Friday.
Yeah.
Right? So tune in to see if you've won, but also...
got another announcement.
Following announcement.
Got another big announcement. Has to do with sats.
Whoa!
And giving.
And away.
So you can piece that together and maybe guess what you think. It's gonna be different and very exciting. Okay, we are marching towards number 99, Kristen, who we now have confirmed will be live.
She kind of retracted a little bit on the live show. She kind of was like, she's not so sure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, that'll ultimately be up to Kristen.
We lost a couple of percentage points there. Okay. And I'm like, okay, well, the live show. Do we want to have a guest live? Do we want to be chatting with the folks live? I'm not sure.
All right.
But to be rigorously honest,
yes,
lost a couple of percentage points there, but also gaining in other places. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
So number 99, Kristen, will be live subject to Kristen's approval. Well, we've got a lady here in the studio today for you to get some practice speaking to a lady.
So this one's really interesting. Yes, because we have Susie in the studio here today. Susie is number 56, Marissa, and number 66, Michael's mom.
Love that. This is a family show.
Yeah. So number 56, Marissa, we went on a huge arc about how Bitcoin will bring fine art back into the world as it was properly funded in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, because it lowers everyone's time preference. It gives them a stable currency that they can use to fund a church being built over 100 years, for example.
Multi-generational.
Because your US dollar buys you less and less and less and less and less and less and less. Right? You know that yourself because you've lived your life.
Right.
I mean, it's insane. insane. So if you have this much money and you're trying to build this over 100 years, you won't even get there because your money might have been able to buy it all at once, but it can't do it over time because it doesn't hold its value. So she actually got to see how Bitcoin can help the whole world focus on fine art and true works of art again. And she stacked her sats. Well, number 66, Michael. Oh, my God.
Oh, that was tough.
Oh, man. He had it. He was so close. And then in his own journey, he kind of got burned by Bitcoin because he kind of like made and lost fortunes, is what he said. And it kind of put a bad taste in his mouth.
Well, he was our number 6th guest to take the cash, and he hopes to come back in 9 months to be number 7 also.
Yeah, it was a full savage comment. Where he was like, yeah, I'll come back in 9 months and I'll be number 7 to pick up the cash. I was like, dang, this guy, it's a premeditated cash grab.
Wow.
He's a contrarian.
He is.
Yeah.
And it's just, and plus his father is more safe.
Okay.
So it sounds like a safe thing,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see. I also think he does do risk, but it's like anything being diversified, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
well, and also like not to defend him, but like if he wanted to buy Bitcoin, he could take the $50 that we gave him and go buy $25 worth of Bitcoin and kind of choose his own destiny a little bit more with more optionality.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, as the Bitcoin Welcome Center, some people are just going to stop to use our bathrooms because they're nice and clean. No, they're not going to go deeper than that. And that's we have to be comfortable with that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But your son, the poor guy, we failed him as hosts of the show because we weren't on top of our game. There have been a few episodes where we're not there. And it happened with Pallavi and it happened with Michael because Michael gave us a couple of really interesting things to talk about and we brushed past them.
Okay.
And we're either just not fully centered because you have to really be there for the person to help them grab what is basically spaceship money. And he talked because it can be hard. It's like, I'm not asking you to go from a car to an electric car. I'm asking you to go from a car to a spaceship. And it's such a leap for some people, but your son wanted, he opened up with this story about how the lawgiver of Sparta eliminated money from or attempted to from their culture. And we absolutely did not treat it whatsoever. And we could have given him an opportunity to talk about that.
That is his world. He's so smart and he's so well educated in that.
Yeah.
So, but you can catch it next time.
Yeah. Oh, you better believe. When he comes in 9 months, there's going to be palpable energy that's just like coming off of me. You look close enough, there's going to be orange flames.
All 6 of these cash takers are going to be studied and prepared for for their second visit. Yeah. Like you wouldn't believe. We have one who is in Chicago, the first one. Number 9, Paul.
Yes.
Who we're gonna possibly just go to Chicago.
Oh, fun! That'll be fun. Yeah.
And Michael gave us like 2 other things to talk about as well. He wanted to know about what Elon Musk thought. We brushed over that.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That would be interesting,
right? Because I could have said he's got Bitcoin. Next question.
What does he think? I mean, you can buy Tesla with Bitcoin.
Yeah, and Tesla has Bitcoin on its balance sheet.
Yeah,
and Elon has Bitcoin. So it's like we just messed that one up, and it hurts me. It hurts me less when we do a good job and they pick cash versus when we do a bad job and they pick cash. Because then I can't tell if I could have done something different, if I could have played the pieces differently. So, anyways, enough about my guy because I think about him all the time. What's your experience with Bitcoin so far? How much do you know about it?
We've got to get to know Susie a little bit, right?
Yes. Yeah. So let's get to know Susie.
That's why I'm the co-host.
Dude, I am like loads of focus.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, so before we get into the questions that you have about Bitcoin,
okay,
help us get to know you a little bit better.
I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, and blue collar, no real knowledge of investing or any of that. And then I went to art school in Colorado. And I worked for these architects, which I was telling you, Bevan, it was the end of the 70s. And it reminded me of what you're doing here because the firm went under, but then the 3 guys went and started working out of their house, and they took me, and we were working this architectural firm out, and these guys were buying penny stocks. And so they said, Susie, get in, you're going to make some money. So I lost everything. Yeah. And so it was kind of like, I kind of felt like, well, somebody's winning, somebody's making money, but in order for them to make money, somebody's got to lose the money. But it assured me it's not like that. But anyway, that was my first taste of it. And it kind of was like, okay, it works for some people, and maybe it's an educational thing or whatever. So
your first taste of speculative
trading. Yeah, because prior to that, like I was working 3 jobs, just, coming out, I'm going to have this great interior designer, but, they don't pay anything when I first come out. So, just single, paying my bills, paying the rent, trying to keep up. And then, so then, I go down the road, and my husband, I got married, we started having children. And he was, and he's always been in IT sales, so, but we were always putting in the max for the 401, responsible stuff, as life happens, you got your priorities are keeping up with your children, getting them educated, all that. And so, and it worked. I mean, it seemed to work, like we would have investments when we needed it for our house down payment, and we've got, that over here. And then, and you don't really think about it, but you're being responsible. And I do kind of wonder what's in it, because my husband would say, all right, so how do you want to do this? And I would always say, I think we should go high risk, because then you might have a chance that, really go. But he's more conservative, so somewhere, it kind of balances out, we go to these things.
So you as the lady have a higher risk tolerance than your husband.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that? Yeah. And he has a cousin that Michael's close to who has been a good mentor. And he has said before that my husband isn't as much of a risk taker. And it's probably because his whole career has been in and out with these corporate buyouts and all this numbers game, with sales and IT and all that, so it's fine. And it's worked fine. And we actually now have a financial planner that, because a friend of mine, I was comfortable with somebody we could trust. And as I said, I didn't really quite understand this. And my husband wasn't interested in following all this stuff. He's like, okay, we'll put it there. We'll not worry about it, and take it as it comes, depending on what the environment is for the time, for what's inflation, what's interest, all that. So, and it's, it's worked, for us, but I am really excited that Michael takes more of an interest in this stuff because, and I was, saying where I work at the legislature, I was following the youngest speaker, I think that we've ever had. And, they just passed H92, which is, Asset Investment Act or something like that. And it's for the retirement account for state employees, to allow, that the new treasurer, who was married to the account for Bloomberg, is now a North Carolina state treasurer who was just elected, that he may invest 5% into this digital currency. They actually named Bitcoin. I'm just trying to remember where I've seen Bitcoin. So I just recently, and that just went over to the Senate May 1st. It passed the House. And that's very interesting because if you read it, it talks about North Carolina being on the front, along with about 7 other states that are positioning, their state for this because it is a good way to go, basically in my, rough understanding of this stuff. It's what it looks like. But the people, when they, debated it on the floor and stuff, and the other representatives, so this was a Republican-led bill, were not comfortable with it. So, and a part of this bill is a study commission that I think it's reported back in 2026, maybe. You could look it up. But, and that's always good. You're going to do it. You're going to keep it a minimum, diversity of 5%. I would be comfortable, with 5%. to know if, as you say, this is a rocket ship that, this is can be our life now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's, to me, that's real. That's real. And it's also, I don't know if there's billionaires off of this stuff already, but to those that much is given, much is expected. So if you're gonna, this is the thing, let's get it into the average everyday people. So we, America, are stronger, right? And all the people can benefit. So anyway, does that help?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, I heard a lot of things there. But I want to zero in on this North Carolina stuff for just a minute. Since you work in the legislature, the state Congress, correct?
General Assembly.
Okay. And the House just passed a bill saying, hey, we should invest up to 5% of the North Carolina state retirement account into cryptocurrencies.
Digital assets.
Digital assets, okay. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I feel very secure because I listened to the committees that it came through. Like, it came through local government. It might come through commerce, but they had the Treasurer Briner speaking to it. Oh, and there's another awesome representative that's out of just north of here, Youngsville. It's this Schnitzler or something like that. That guy is so knowledgeable in this, which, and it's all public. Any buddy can get on, listen to these discussions, and there's also a board of directors that is coming behind this thing with people who have the experience with it. So I feel very good about it because, this isn't my world, but to know that there are people that this is their world and they are so behind that this is the direction that we want to go as a state to make our state stronger. Yeah, it makes me feel very good.
So it sounds like part of the reason why you feel good and secure is because there's a group of experts, so to speak, or at least people who are really hyper-focused on this, and they're working to get a larger and larger consensus among the different layers of the political organization to where these individuals are going to a committee, they're getting consensus at the committee level that might go to a next stage where they talk about it some more. Finally, it hits the floor. Everyone votes on it in the House, and now we're going to go to the Senate. It's not just, you might have a higher risk tolerance than your husband. It's not just some guy shooting from the hip.
Yeah, no. And these are like experienced businessmen and people that come in to serve the people that are elected by the people. So these are not just, these are legit people. And then the board of directors are stakeholders, so it actually gives the average person who, like me, growing up, in a big Catholic family, blue collar, wouldn't normally even have access to this. So, and I think a lot of people don't even realize it too. They don't realize it, but that's the goodness in it, is this work is being done, which makes North Carolina a fantastic place to live.
Well, that's fantastic too, because Kristen works for North Carolina. Effectively. I mean, she was in the university system for a while. Okay. And that's where she got her North Carolina State retirement account.
Okay.
And then we had some kids, and now she's back working for the elementary school down the street in the library, which is like fully darling and just makes me feel all squirmy inside to think of her like Belle. You know what I mean? and of myself has to be. Oh, well, shoot. It depends. When I'm in my ego mode, it's Phil Gaston. I got to try to get away from that. I want to be the beast, Oh, yeah. And I would like to be as hairy as the beast, by the way. And I would like to getting close. I would like to have horns on my head and big, sharp teeth. I would love that. And the last time we went down to Disney, we had them do a caricature of me as the beast, Kristen as Town Belle, Kitty as Ballroom Belle, and my son Ryan as Gaston, and it was freaking amazing.
Well, yeah.
So,
well, that is more appropriate that you would be the beast.
I would be the beast. Yeah. Because sometimes I get upset with myself, and I go off to the East Wing to slash paintings of myself with my claws and just watch the petals fall off the rose.
Then you turn into the prince. Isn't that what he was?
Yeah, but I would prefer to stay the beast if I could. Because when he turns into the prince, he has no beard, and that's an immediate no for me. And I think he just looks better as the beast.
Look at Iron Beast. Was Belle a librarian?
Well, she loved books. And then the beast invites her to all the books that he has in his collection. And she loves it. So short story long, she still has a retirement account now because she's with Wake County, which rolls up. So it could be very interesting for me over the next 30 episodes as I continue along with these body blows. Like, they might already have some Bitcoin.
Well, not yet. Not
I mean, your retirement accounts are all Bitcoin, huh? But it's really interesting to think about North Carolina investing the tax dollars it collects, or I guess the retirement system comes from each individual employee.
Their salary.
Okay, so
they're paid by the taxpayers.
Yeah, so ultimately, it's our taxes that trickle down to the employees that go back into a retirement system that may feature Bitcoin.
Yeah, may
or shall.
No more than 5%. And there's some other reasons, like there's a $750 billion something or other, which I feel like it's getting too detailed, but there are some things that it has to be. It can't be like this fly-by-night thing that's going to...
Meme coin. No.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't like those either. We're Bitcoin only.
Bitcoin only. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
When you hear the term...
Bitcoin is in it.
Yeah. When you hear the term digital assets, for us, it's like they're trying to group a number of cryptocurrencies in with Bitcoin to legitimize them the same way Bitcoin is legitimate, and that doesn't work for me. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Crypto is kryptonite. And when you put that all in a group of digital assets, it's either designed to... It just is designed to kind of get them in there along with it. It's kind of like when you go to buy Halloween candy at Target and it's a big bag and you really only want like the Skittles and the M&Ms, but like they like throw the Whoppers in there as well. Like you can't buy the bag without the Whoppers. And like, who eats Whoppers? Like the 1950s called and like wants their malt chocolate balls back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I think of when I think of digital assets is, you're kind of you can't choose which candy you get. Maybe some digital assets have some value, and our satillionaires who are kind of in that world, like Richard Puente, are kind of helping us learn a little bit more. And we've learned about decentralized finance and different tokens and stuff. But really, we just want to focus on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is something that you can depend on. And these other things that we call cryptocurrencies and that they may term digital assets.
Yeah, look, there's enough to learn about. If you really want to understand Bitcoin,
right?
We feel that that's the place to focus for the everyday, our audience, for beginners. Focus on understanding Bitcoin. And once you've got through the 101 of Bitcoin and you want to learn about decentralized finance and tokenization of real estate, go for it. But make sure you have a sound understanding of Bitcoin first so that you've got a sound basis for comparison, if nothing else.
And by the way, the nature of Bitcoin is such that any percentage that this new fellow puts into the NC retirement system will grow to be the entire thing. So they did some mathematics where if someone had put 3% of their retirement portfolio into Bitcoin, however many number of years ago, not even that many years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, that 3% would grow in value to the point where it was now 80%.
Wow.
Without anything happening to the previous 97%, it just gets pushed to the side because Bitcoin is such a powerhouse and is so ridiculously valuable. It's the money of the 22nd century. And it'll just, if they put any points, that retirement account for North Carolina is about to go, Susie, my wife's retirement account is going to go over million.
Well, and it can't be more than 5%. So when you're diversified, I mean, the thing for that is the scare factor, because it's only 5% and you just use 3%, out of 100%. So,
okay. Yeah, I guess if it grew to be more than 5%, would they have to kind of sell it off to readjust it, or can they leave it there?
Or maybe it's the initial the initial investment can only be up to 5%.
And that's
but
what
then as
I
it
think that's the way
grows,
it's written. Oh, I hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to read it, which is probably why there's a study part of it also. They're following it. They're and I think the important thing is they're following it. They know that they need to understand this, right? And
it'd be really hard to imagine them getting to the point where it's like, this is doing too well. This is just too much now. We better get out of this before it totally eclipses all this.
Yeah. I guess we're just winning too much. And Dave, we should probably pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
So, first of all, we would love to have all of these individuals on the show, right? Because we're here in Raleigh, and they seem to be in politics, and they should come on the show.
They will.
And they should tell the state of North Carolina that's what.
They will. We tape 9 times a week. Eventually, they're going to have
They're going to come. Right. They will.
They'd probably love to, explain it so the word gets out. And it's an educational opportunity, too, for the people. It does seem like it's just scratching the surface. How long you really care about this? Oh, has it been 16 years?
But I mean, it's been a slow, steady growth. And if you look at where it's going, we're still in the infancy.
Okay.
It's been, and here's what I'll say about my new insight into that 16-year history of Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is always on. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does not close like the stock market closes. It does not open like the stock market opens. It does not have holidays like the stock market, and you can't shut it down, right? When there's like a nasty dip on Wall Street, they're like, yeah, never mind, everybody stop trading. Everybody stop trading tomorrow. Let's go eat some food. Let's go cool off. We got low blood sugar. We clearly got low blood sugar because we're crashing the market, right? If you take Bitcoin and you map it backward across all the hours that you could trade on Wall Street, those 16 years of being on 24/7 means that Bitcoin has been around since 1942.
In Wall Street
years.
In Wall Street trading hours, Bitcoin has been around since 1942. And the longer it goes, 24/7, the more it'll just push backward. And so Bitcoin will have been around since before the stock market, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds to me, if I'm feeling this right in my gut, that you have a certain comfort level with Bitcoin already.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's just a small percentage.
Yeah.
It isn't like we're going to lose everything, right?
No. Because, 5% or less,
yeah,
everybody can handle that amount.
Yeah.
And it also sounds like you kind of have a collectivist, unselfish kind of, hey, this could help the average North Carolinian or the average Pennsylvanian,
right?
For example.
American. Yeah.
The average American.
For America. Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit more about why you think that is?
Well, okay. Mainly, that would be like my faith life, and scripture is to those that much is given, much is expected. So, you're a steward, right? So if this is something, and providence comes into play, right? God has a purpose for all of us, right? So, it would, and you see the opposite in our culture, but I would like to see more of, a godly world. Our currency is based on in God we trust. So, which is an interesting thought. So does Bitcoin is it going to have something like that? How our American dollar has in God we trust.
Just because it's printed on that dollar doesn't mean that the people printing it believe that, by the way. and the way they're printing it into infinity kind of makes me feel like in themselves they trust.
No, I realize that. But how about when it started?
Yeah, well, it's different. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. This whole world, with this digital, doo-doo-da-da has changed.
Well, the dollar really changed. The dollar really changed, though, in 1971 when we came off of the gold standard.
Okay.
That was the breaking point.
So there's not enough gold to back it up.
Yeah, because we spent too much money on war.
Yeah, spent too much money.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Vietnam. It was
on various programs as well.
Yeah,
people employed XYZ.
Mostly foreign warfare, though.
Yeah,
by and large.
But, effectively, they just weren't limited by their money because they could just print as much as they wanted.
And that is a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah, huge problem.
It's huge. It's huge. But, but it also sounds like not only will you maybe have a new class of Bitcoin billionaires who are benevolent and who want to put their Bitcoin toward changing the world for the better,
right,
instead of keeping it locked into a backward state that's profitable for some.
Right.
But also, you also mentioned that the average blue-collar Pennsylvanian can buy Bitcoin.
Right? Well, it's actually a step further. They now, if they have a state pension fund,
right,
they won't need to.
Yeah. Well, and it would also be like, for anybody who's working for a company and you have your 401 with your investments, that sort of thing, even if you don't have a financial planner, if you're not doing that whole world, but you're working, and they talk about this, that for years people were not saving, and I'm sure there's statistics to this. Right?
Yeah.
So that was why they were trying to get people to think that way. Have a 401k, your company will match it, if you'll put in a certain amount. So that would be a place, I would think, if this Bitcoin is all that great, that you would find that as a part of that would really strengthen, the American worker who's, killing themselves every week, going out making that paycheck, instead of living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. If they are putting it in there, and if it's really going to do that, I mean, maybe is this part of the golden years or golden era
of Bitcoin?
Well, in general, of America.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say it's the driving force behind it.
Oh, okay. So, so I think that the educational aspect of it is huge, just to understand it from the different things you're hearing, and where America's headed now in a good way. Mm-hmm. Because we've had a ton of inflation. We've had, people spinning their wheels, working. It kind of feels
Never
like,
getting ahead.
Yeah, what is this? Isn't it in the American dream? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And I should say, I started at a place, and we have gotten to a place as a result of hard work and, driving junker cars, not overspending on this and that. And now in the year 2025, you kind of look around, and there's been a number of things that have contributed to it, but it is exciting to think that we can get rid of this trillions of dollars of worth of debt, which I think is a part of what's gagging America, right? Or just the scare factor, the economy could collapse and people don't really think it could, how much debt you're going to keep or how many dollars you're going to print, right? So if this is a solution, moving America into a much stronger country for its people, that's fantastic, But again, I think, I'm just getting bits and pieces of this stuff. I'm not an expert on this, but it would be nice to have a more educational talks and hear more about, this is why it's this, that this is what it's going to do, and this is how it's going to do it, right? Which would make people not so afraid of it, or if you start baby steps, it's 5%. Even if you lose it, it's only 5%. So you have to have some risk, right?
Right.
So
I do think Bitcoin could help you. I think it could help your family. I think it could help Americans. And maybe North Carolinians is the intermediate step. I do think the city of Oak right here, Raleigh, I think we should get the local government to just bam. But it could help North Carolinians, Americans, the debt, the $36 trillion in debt. It could bam. I tell you what. I mean, think about how we collect $4 trillion in taxes, spend $6 trillion per year, and have $36 trillion in debt. That makes no
number sense.
That doesn't make how can you possibly hope to have a strong nation that is $36 trillion in debt and consistently going $2 trillion deeper per year? I mean, imagine if you were making $400,000 a year as a family, we're spending $600 $1,000 a year as a family and also had a $3.6 million debt.
How would you feel?
You feel like there's no hope,
No
you know?
hope.
So it's going to take something more than just trying to work and pay this off. Because like to your point, you're not going to be able to do it in your lifetime.
Mhm.
So it's going to take something like smart and, you know, beyond, right?
Yeah.
That's,
It's a non-linear answer to this problem.
yeah,
It can't just be, we're just going to keep chugging along and chipping away.
no.
It's
No.
not, it won't happen.
A strong America with no debt that only spends what it collects, you know, it's like being on Earth looking at the moon and you're on a hamster wheel trying to get there.
Right, yeah.
And then we pull up to the side with our laser-equipped rocket ship and say, do you just want to jump in here? Because we can literally take you to the moon like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if America
Yeah.
decides that it wants to start stacking sats, then there's no telling what will happen to the exchange rate of Bitcoin.
Mm.
This exchange rate over here of $102,000 per Bitcoin is reflective of the 2 to 3% of Americans and, 3 to 8% of the entire world that's like, here's the money that works all around the world all the time that anybody can use without anybody telling them they can't. That's how far we've gotten with just a fraction of the world understanding it. If you have the majority of the world understanding it, $1 million Bitcoin, $10 million Bitcoin, $100 million Bitcoin. And if America has Bitcoin, they only need so much Bitcoin to get to 36 trillion. Then they could pay off the whole debt and be like, never mind, guys, we're done. We don't owe anybody anything. Okay? Now we're sovereign. We've got our borders. We've got our weapons. We've got good schools. Water's clean. Food looks good. Like, y'all can't mess with us anymore. You know what I mean? So, that's just me going off into this world where you can only spend the money you actually have.
Right.
Because hard money like gold, when you run out of gold, it ain't there anymore. So you don't have it anymore. So you can't tell people you have it anymore. But with paper, you're like, here's some more, here's some more, here's some more.
So it would be like, for example, like the Depression, when everything crashed. So, and I think of Les Miserables, where the priest gives the guy the candlesticks because they're silver. So they're actually tangible.
Right.
And you can actually barter, and you can actually, get some food and feed your family or, right? So, like, I just can't see this visual with this digital thing, though.
Bitcoin?
Yeah. I mean, because you're using the gold thing as, okay, when the gold went away, that was the problem. Or like these floating dollars, that are worth, they don't have like the gold, right? Isn't that the whole point of the gold?
Yeah. You can go turn your dollars in for gold.
Yeah. So, how the Bitcoin
would it create a problem to adopt Bitcoin? Do you mean?
Well, she's saying that if the dollar is debased and crashes and the economy crashes, if you were a gold holder, she can understand how you've got this tangible silver candlestick that you can exchange with. But I think it's hard to make the leap from that because of the lack of tangibility.
Okay.
How does Bitcoin work that way?
Okay. I see. Okay. And is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I wasn't
Chris is dialed in.
Yeah.
His chia seed drink is done. Okay.
Who's raising it? No, I mean, yeah.
So Bitcoin is as real as gold because Bitcoin represents a new form of computation that has solved the copy-paste problem. So on computers, if you have a Google document, you can highlight what you've written and control copy-paste it as many times as you want. So how in the world can a money work online? Couldn't I just say, well, here's 1 million sats, copy-paste, 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 now I'm even richer. Well, Bitcoin works through a series of distributed ledgers. And what that means is that there are 20,000 plus computers around the world that each own and operate their copy of this spreadsheet that shows every single Bitcoin transaction that has ever happened. Peter paid Paul, Paul paid. That's as many of the apostles that I can name. Okay, John, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Okay, and so since everyone has their own copy of everything that's happening at all times, and everyone's checking one another, no one can lie. Everyone can say, okay, did Peter pay Paul? Yes, he did. And they add it to their spreadsheet. And everyone has their own copy. Mm-hmm. So Bitcoin solves the copy-paste problem because you can't fudge the system. You've got 20,000 plus computers that are all checking each other's work each time a new block of transactions is added to the chain. And you've seen that green light up a couple of times now while we've been talking, maybe out of the corner of your eye. Every 10 minutes, they add a new block to the blockchain that's full of transactions. And they're checking every transaction every single time.
So who are they?
Who are they? They are computers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you could have a laptop in your house that has a copy of the big fat spreadsheet in the sky, and every 10 minutes, your laptop will add another line to that spreadsheet and check it all the way back to the beginning of all Bitcoin time to say, this is a valid transaction, or no, he's being silly, because he already spent those coins 10 blocks ago, so he can't send them again. So Bitcoin is as real as gold, even though you can't touch it.
You want to hear why Bitcoin's better than gold?
Well, first of all, does that land with you, or like, okay, I guess
lands with me, because we've been in the whole IT world, for a long time, but there's other people who aren't. That's probably where it doesn't land. I mean, I can accept this because of the cloud, because this has been my husband's career, and you can look at my son, and so, but I think that there are people who don't have computers still.
Right.
Eventually everybody's going to have a computer, is what you're saying, or at least be represented by a computer.
They don't need to run a node, is what they're called, if they don't want to. You can just have your smartphone. You can have Bitcoin on your smartphone.
Yeah, I do a lot on my phone. Everything.
You can, if you decide to stack the sats today, we're going to send sats from our phone to your phone. So we don't need a big old computer if we don't want. You just, because you don't have your own credit card process.
No, I know my phone is a computer. I meant everybody has to have that then, right?
If they want to use Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to have that copy of the ledger, though.
Okay.
Not everyone has to be running the Bitcoin Core software that updates every 10 minutes with a new.
So those are like the bank.
Those are people who are interested and love Bitcoin enough that they want to contribute to its decentralization.
They're also watchmen and guards because their wealth is in Bitcoin. And it is in their best interests to make sure that Bitcoin stays Bitcoin and that there's no funny business. Because if you can do funny business with Bitcoin, then it's like, well, wait, we thought it solved the copy-paste problem. We thought it was a new form of computation. Like, what are you trying to tell me? So they're incentivized to watch everything and make sure everyone plays by the rules of Bitcoin.
But you may get to a point on your Bitcoin journey where you've got enough of it that you're like, all right, it's now time that I want to run my own node.
Okay.
Just to be, like Stuart and I, for example, have not run a node up to this point. But we funded this whole business with Bitcoin. We have Bitcoin on our balance sheet. I own Bitcoin personally. Stuart owns Bitcoin personally. So this week, reminder, this week we are setting up our own node here in the studio.
Oh.
That's right.
So it's people like us who are incentivized and really have a stake in making sure that Bitcoin stays decentralized, stays honest, and we won't do that alone individually, but we can add one more to that 21,000 to just strengthen it even more.
So how is it that you stay honest? You said that you could be trusted. I mean, you're going to have that because you invested personally.
I mean, you stay honest by making all the transactions plain and for public inspection and having your own copy.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it's like a big fat spreadsheet in the sky.
Yeah.
When someone adds a line to the bottom of the spreadsheet, everybody can see it happening and they can determine whether it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
And node runners are not actually adding any lines of transactions.
Okay.
We're just keeping a copy of it.
Okay.
That we can inspect at any time. We're not going in and editing anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're just, at any point in time, we can go in and we can pull a block and we can say, look at all these transactions.
Mm-hmm.
These are correct or they're not correct.
Yeah.
That's what the software is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get too into the weeds.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry.
No,
it's good. It's good because you can go as far down as you want.
Yeah,
and that's part of what's excellent about it because you can inspect any element of Bitcoin into any level of detail you want. I would absolutely adore for you to go to Fort Knox and say, "Excuse me, sir, can you please sell me your gold?"
Right.
They would say,
"What happened?
Put back, ma'am." You're like, "Oh, okay." You probably didn't get within a mile of the place. So if you have a level of comfort with Bitcoin and you can see that it's a futuristic thing online that the experts in the government are beginning to adopt that could lead to everyone benefiting, how come you don't have any of your own Bitcoin yet?
I just hadn't really thought about it.
No judgment here.
No, thank you.
No, not at all.
First, you're going to give me some, so now I'm going to have it.
Right. Okay, we can. All right.
Now.
So let's do this then, because I'm sensing that we have got ourselves what we need to chomp on some hummus here.
Oh, yeah.
Get the blood sugar where it needs to be. Okay, we don't want to have to stop trading on Wall Street because we're low on the blood sugar. Then we are going to make you an offer. Okay. But before we do that, it's important for us to note that you just can't fit everything there is to know about Bitcoin into one chat about sats. And I can tell with your level of risk tolerance, with your ability to grasp the world of IT, and to kind of connect a better store of value to everyone benefiting, there's going to be a lot more for us to talk about and to kind of dive into some of those details with you, because I can see that you have that mind. So we ask all of our guests if they'd be willing to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby. Would you be willing to do that for us, Susie?
Sure, yeah. And what else be interesting? We'll see if that bill passes.
Yeah.
It might not even go anywhere.
Yeah. I bet it will.
You better go somewhere, or we're going to go down there ourselves. Excuse me, sir. Hey, my wife's retirement account needs $5 Bitcoin. Okay, it needs to have a phone number 99. Don't you do? Get 10 minutes left. She needs to have Bitcoin retirement account before it comes on the show. So I'm like, you are a Bitcoiner, lady. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop holding back.
Yeah.
So let's kick it over to Chris here for the hummus tasting sequence.
All right. So our founding sponsor, Ithaca Hummus, would like to offer you a taste of our lemon dill flavor. That's what you, I think, self-selected on the form.
Great.
And let's go too, by the way, because we can't forget our we are no longer in a single sponsor scenario, because the Pearl Collective has sponsored these Polaroid images that you get to take home with you. So I love that we've reached 1,000 subs, a live show, and a second sponsor.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah. All right, so let's grab a Triscuit, not Triscuit, a woven wheat, a non-discrete woven wheat.
You're never paying for that.
Not yet. All right, there we go.
Okay,
let's do this together, man.
Here we go.
No.
Very fresh.
Wow.
Delicious. I actually look at it.
So good.
We're gonna do good, man. That's
Yeah, I love
absolutely.
There used to be our number one item at Whole Foods. Now our sea salt, olive oil, sea salt gravel collab is the number one item in the whole dip set.
Let's say that for a second. not only is the Ithaca Graza collab the top Ithaca hummus at Whole Foods,
not just that,
it's the top dip
in the whole building
at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because the lemon dill is delicious.
And I like the ingredients. You know, there aren't that many in there.
No.
Nothing weird.
No, nothing
Delicious.
at all. Nothing at all.
It makes me want to eat cooked fish, and I don't like cooked fish.
Oh.
I only like raw fish. Okay? Because again, east wing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You just need...
I snatch it out of the spring
properly.
wing.
When we go out to Las Vegas, one of the restaurants I want to go to is called Per Se. We're going to have some fish there. We're going to test that, see if you like cooked fish or not.
All right. So, very quickly, because I haven't said this in a while, Ithaca hummus by the dip. Or actually, Jeremy, let me practice my my connection with the guests here. Ithaca hummus by the dip.
By the dip.
I love that.
By the dip. All right. So now, Susie, to wrap up, we believe in exchanging our value for your value here at Sat Chats. You drove here. You came into the studio, which we really appreciate.
Love that.
You gave us more than an hour of your time, asked some really great questions, gave us some insights on what's going on at the state legislature. So we're going to offer you a small, token of appreciation. Your choice between $50 and God We Trust. I think it's
right there.
Or $50 in Bitcoin, which, hold on a second. Simple Steve, could we get you to add a little $50 conversion onto this thing? I mean, it's great. We at least need a sats per dollar because this is too hard for me. I'm gonna chug.
You got it.
All right. So
it's just one number divided by another.
All right. So
y'all got that. That's too hard for Chris.
Relax. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna take 50 and I'm gonna divide it by 102,442 to get this big old decimal. Okay, then I'm going to multiply that by 100 million because there's 100 million sats in every Bitcoin, even though some people are trying to say, we won't even talk about that right now.
Yeah, we're good.
And that is 48,808. So that's 48,808 sats. Satoshi's fraction of a Bitcoin, for anybody who doesn't know what that is yet, for $50.
I mean, I've got to go with the risk, the opportunity,
Well, this would be.
We're good. We're gonna go with the risk.
Thank you.
Oh my God! Yes.
That was great.
Now, when you come back in 9 months, we're going to talk about why you actually took the least risky option, which is this was trying to help you with.
Okay.
But when I was trying to get my first job, I had a guy tell me he was going to go ahead and put me into his temp agency to start trying to get a job during the financial recession. And I added one more thing to the top after he had already said yes to me. Because
you gotta stop selling.
And that's what he said.
You gotta stop selling.
He was like, dude, when you've sold, stop selling.
Yeah.
So we got, exactly.
And I've learned that lesson before.
Well, that's why I had to come nip that right there. The next show.
And even all I could see was that 48,000 something or other. And I was kind of thinking like a third world country, but how can that be so high? So, but I want to do. I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
What happens. Follow this Bitcoin. It'll be fun to follow it.
Yeah. Oh. Let's just do some birthday. Boom. And you hear that? Listen, I'm going to get real serious real quick. You hear me, Michael? I'm coming for you, okay? I got your mom. I got your older sister. Brittany's coming on next. What's your husband's name?
Todd.
Todd's coming on next, okay? Dad's coming on next. I'm going to literally pincer attack you.
Wow.
All right? So, anywho, thank you so much for stacking the sats with us.
Great.
That feels amazing. You bring our scoreboard to 63 who have stacked the sats and 6 who need a little bit more time. This is the part of the show where we ask you, Satillionaires, for your value in exchange for ours. I guess I should stop real quick because I haven't been asking this. Do you want anybody to be able to reach you in any way or interact with you in any way or go to a website?
You're not promoting anything.
Social media handle, anything like that?
Didn't write a book.
No.
People who come on are looking.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
All right. So, your value for our value. What do we value? We still value YouTube subscriptions
And watch hours.
And when you tune in Friday to the live show, 10 a.m. Eastern, you're going to see how much we value YouTube subscriptions. Just like Chris said, we could also use your watch hours. So drop into the Sat Chats playlist and start running through them in order. You're going to love it. You can also support the show by coming on the show. satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today, and do it now because we're already working on August, okay? The demand for this show
Going up.
exceeds the supply.
Yeah.
And right now we're in Epoch 1 where there ain't nothing but supply of this show. And we're still getting outstripped.
Yep.
So props to MJ, props to all the Satillionaires out there who are making it all happen for us. Remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views, correct views, I would say, are their own. See you tomorrow.